My name is Isabella, and I really need somebody to talk to about these webtoons, so I'm giving you all my recommendations so that we can talk about them together, because here are some of my recommendations if you're looking for something new to read. And if you haven't started reading anything on Webtoon or haven't used Webtoon before, I really hope that this will motivate you to start, because there are so many good stories. I feel like I have been trying to convince people in my life to read some stories on there so much that I am talking to a camera to try and convince people to start reading more of their stories, which is something that is very difficult for me. I've tried to make a YouTube video for like years, and I just can't get used to this talking to the camera lens kind of thing. So I am just trying with something that I genuinely love, which is Webtoon, and hopefully I can just meet people who also really enjoy Webtoons like me, and we can talk about stuff and share fan theories and, you know, simp over our 2D boys. And yeah, I have been trying for so long to get people in my life to start reading Webtoons, and they're all just like, haha, oh, there's this fella with like her next 2D boy crush, and like, oh, she's like freaking out on her Insta stories about this like random webcomic, what a nerd, what a geek. Yeah, I am. Maybe I am. Webtoons never fail to keep me entertained and get me excited, and I seriously lose sleep over reading these stories. So I think that people really need to start paying attention to graphic novels as a serious art form. Just really believe in them, and so you better get obsessed with the ones that I'm obsessed with, because I need someone to talk to about them. So this is my personal journal, which you're not allowed to look at, but I am going to open up to this page that my brother says looked like was made by a 13-year-old girl, which I am on the inside. Oh, here it is. All right. My fave Webtoons. You don't, oh, maybe I shouldn't have. Here it is. My fave Webtoons. Can you see that? I don't know if that's focusing. Anyway, I wrote it in pink sparkly gel pen ink. I'm gonna go through the ones that I have written down that I deemed worthy enough to use my pink sparkly gel pen ink to immortalize it into my journal as being like, this is my favorite Webtoon. So that's kind of what I'm going off of for these recommendations. Okay, so I'm gonna start number 1, Lore Olympus. Oh, Lore Olympus, what can I say? These panels, these ones, were some of the first ones that they used to advertise, at least that I saw, advertising Lore Olympus and Webtoon and everything like that. And I was like, excuse me, what is that? That is the most beautiful work of art I have ever seen. And then I kept, you know, being like, okay, yeah, that's pretty, but I don't know if I'm gonna download an app, whatever. It's kind of weird that Instagram is like spying on me and telling me things that I would be into. That's just kind of weird. But then they kept giving me more and more ads with like beautiful art that I was like, how am I supposed to say no? How do you not get attracted to the art of Rachel Smythe? And I think personally as a filmmaker, I just really love her art style, because it's so, I mean, she uses light and color in such interesting ways. It really feels like I'm watching a movie when I'm reading the book. It's like so satisfying. It was like, it was the movie that I wished I could be watching, but as a book. And that immediately hooked me. So Lore Olympus is about the gods, about Hades and Persephone specifically, and all the other gods make appearances in the story. The main story, like the A storyline, is Hades and Persephone, and then you have like tons of other storylines that are interweaved through that. Just did such a good job interweaving all of the stories, like all the myths, with her own lore. Some artist, I personally really love her art. I love that it feels like this kind of like handmade just like chalky kind of like graphite. I know I'm like using Photoshop brush terms or something. I'm not a Photoshop expert, but it's like that graphite feel. I don't know, it feels good. It just feels good. It has this texture to it that's very uniquely hers and distinct. She's able to use like soft lines and sharp lines to kind of emphasize the story in the way that like the plot is moving, and when there's conflict and when the climax is coming, and then when there's moments that are softer and more tender and stuff. Her art just reflects that script so well. So for me, it's such a joy to read, and there's so many likable, lovable characters that are always in my mind, and just like, I'm really excited to see what happens next. I mean, we're on season 3, but I'm not going to talk about any plot things. I think I'm just excited to see where Rachel's going to go, where she's going to take us. Her story has been absolutely beautiful up to this point, and I'm really excited to see where her storytelling skills take us next. Okay, number 2, according to my glitter pink gel pen book, is Ghost Wife. I actually like felt the tears already just saying it. Ghost Wife. Ghost Wife, I don't believe is an original Webtoons series, like original on there, but there is currently a spin-off of it called Half Ghost that I do believe is like Webtoon original. Ghost Wife is my life. It is my life. From the story to the art, it's something that I wasn't ever expecting. It was really refreshing. The story was refreshing. The characters were refreshing. The art, oh my goodness. I need to look up, this is the one. That's how I really was when I was reading this book. That's live slug reaction for all the Tumblrinas out there. Anyway, so basically, just to give you a summary of it, Liz is a normal teenage girl who can see monsters that want to eat her. The only person who can save her is a demon with a creepy smile and an appetite for live cats. But first, she has to become his fiancé. So, okay, I mean, like, you have to read it, obviously. I'm not gonna spoil it, because it's like, alright, that's kind of surface level what's going on. But there's so much more to this story. It is so heartwarming, and like, oh my god, just like the... I'm like really bad at explaining, I think, because I'm just so in love with it that all I can do is just be like, I love it! So the author, Sejung, I believe, she does such a good job with her art. The art style is so, it's very simple, but she's able to make the most tiny little subtle changes in a character's eyes or in their smile or something about their expression, and it just like, my stomach will fall to the floor, or my heart will like shoot up into my throat. I mean, she has such an eye for expressions and the subtleties of like that's the thing about webcomics that I love so much, is like the artists are able to say things, like, how do I explain this? It's just sometimes an entire plot point or plot twist or character like deep big moment is in the art. Ghost Wife is like, it's so cute and sweet, and it was like really scary when I first started reading it. I was like really deeply uncomfortable because it was scary. Like, the drawings are creepy as heck, but then, you know, I like creepy stuff, so I was like, okay, whatever, I'll just keep reading. And I kept reading, and it's so... So if you like creepy, weird, kind of Tim Burton-y romance, I guess I would say. I mean, it's very different from a Tim Burton-y romance, but it has that kind of like creepy flair to it that is what you'll get in Ghost Wife. But it's so wholesome. It's like creepy wholesome, which is kind of like what Tim Burton would be, creepy wholesome. Number 3, Cursed Princess Club. Ah! Oh my god, that one is so cute. Oh my gosh. Okay, I really doubted. There's a lot of webtoons that I really doubted because, I don't know, the art style was like, oh, it's not gonna be that serious or something, but I have been proven so wrong. I mean, some of the webtoons that have the most, what I would have believed, like simple art styles going into it are ones that have just like pierced me the hardest, because the authors are just so smart and that they're able to, how they direct their films, or they literally direct their webtoons so well, like a movie, you know? Cursed Princess Club is one that I was kind of like, oh, this is silly and cutesy, which I really like silly and cutesy anyway. So I was like, not expecting, I don't know, I wasn't expecting it to be like anything but like a silly cutesy thing. And the more I started reading it, the more I'm like crying, my heart is breaking and reforming and breaking and reforming, and like it is so unassuming how deep Cursed Princess Club is, just based on when you're just first getting into it and kind of how the characters are introduced and all that stuff. And you just end up with, your breath is completely taken away from you. I really need it to come back because, like, I need to know what's gonna happen next. Oh my god. Okay. So, my next favorite, number 4, is Midnight Poppyland. Eee! Okay, I don't know who has read it here, but Midnight Poppyland is like, you know, you got a nice, okay, the main guy is really hot, like really hot. His name is Tora, and he falls in love with a little girly girl named Poppy, who is new to the city, and he is like, you know, maybe I should just read what the description is. After making a grisly discovery in the countryside, a small-town book editor's life gets entangled with a young mafia lord and his intimidating bodyguard. Even as every step she takes draws her deeper into the dangerous underworld of the city. Dun dun dun! Midnight Poppyland, you can't see it that well, but anyway, that's what it is. This is another one that I doubted the art style. Again, I was like, oh, this looks kind of like simple. I don't know. And then I kind of like read it back and forth and I wasn't sure, and then I stuck with it. And I am just so in love with it that, like, when I do anything in my life, I'm just like, where's Tora? Is he here? Like, is he gonna show up? Which, you know what? Let me live in my imagination, okay? I can live in my imagination. Cutesy, like, romance, and character development. So both sides, the, like, cutesy girl, Poppy, and then, like, dark, handsome, tall, and brooding Tora. Just even thinking about him. They each go through separate character developments that are so real and satisfying, because it's like these people and the authors who write these webtoons, they know how to write humans. Everybody is a human first, and then they're their character. Everyone has their flaws and they have their experiences that make them who they are and stuff. And I don't know, I feel so much connection with a lot of these webtoons because they're written from a really grounded point of view, and it's not just for show, you know what I mean? Like, the authors are really trying to tell you something with their work, and I just feel like it's something that is something that I have been missing from a lot of media lately. Is like, okay, you're just showing me things, but what are you teaching me? What are you telling me? And in Webtoon, I just feel like I'm always learning I actually feel like I'm learning as a person when I'm reading webtoons. So yeah, so Midnight Poppy Land is one of those that really made me feel like I'm growing with the characters. I mean, there's, you know, it has its up moments, and then it has its sad moments, and it has its really cute moments, and it has its really dark moments. And even throughout all of that, and even with the premise of it being like, okay, it's like this mafia dude and stuff, it's like they're humans, they're human beings, and they're dealing with human character development. And I think that is what really attracts me to Midnight Poppy Land, that I love so much. Number 4. Oh, wait, just kidding. Number 5, right? Oh, okay. So, it is called The First Night with the Duke, which I think is one of Webtoon's also kind of like more popular stories. It is a, oh shoot, what is it called? Isekai? I think that's what they're called. Like a, maybe I'm completely wrong, but I think it's like isekai or something, which is a type of story where the reader gets sucked into like their favorite novel or their favorite fantasy world, and they take over one of the roles in the story. And usually the heroine has to like, she's trying to make sure that the plot goes exactly as it's supposed to so that she can get out of the novel, but then something happens and she's thwarted, like her plans are changed, and I accidentally made the main character fall in love with me even though he's supposed to fall in love with this person and stuff. But then yeah, it's really cute and it's so funny. It's just, I was constantly laughing at every moment with First Night with the Duke. It's something light and fun to read, and that's it. It just has like such a soft place in my heart because of how fun it is. Next is Let's Play. No, Alexa, stop. Let me just read to you. She's young, single, and about to achieve her dream of creating incredible video games. But then, life throws her a 1-2 punch. A popular streamer gives her first game a scathing review. Even worse, she finds out that the same troublesome critic is now her new neighbor. A funny, sexy, and all too real story about gaming, memes, and social anxiety. Come for the plot, stay for the doggo. It might be my favorite. I just recently binged it, and this is one of those webtoons where it's highly emphasized that they're people first and then characters. They're messy, they make mistakes, they don't always say the right thing, but I would much rather be reading something about people who make mistakes and aren't perfect, and learning from them, because again, this is one of those webtoons that I feel like I learn so much from. One of the really interesting things that Mongie does in this webtoon is she emphasizes like those anxieties, so fear, there's confrontation, there's trust, there's love, and they all take on these kind of like physical forms that hang around the main character, so you can see like the physical manifestations of how big their fear is. It's just very real, and that's what makes the character so interesting. She also has just such well planned out and written backstories, and it's nice also when I'm reading these webcomics that I'm using the part of my brain that likes to read, that wants to read, and I'm not just watching, you know? I just feel like my brain is like there's a workout happening, paying such close attention to the subtleties in people's expressions. It just, Let's Play gives you the perfect blend of all of that, and with also just amazing writing. And I mean, I was totally against certain characters, and now I'm freaking rooting for some of them. Oh my gosh. Another one that I completely devoured is Never Ending Darling, which is a newer webtoon right now. It's a thriller, it is, let me tell you, it is a thriller. The art style is so freaky because it's so, this is the thing with Ghost Wife, just like with Neverending Darling, is that they are so simple, and then they can do these, when they have creepy, it's, when it's creepy, it is creepy. It is so scary. Like bone chilling, you know, and maybe it's because of how simple it is and how a little tweak or something that's a little bit off can just feel so like discordant, or it just, oh, something's off. You know, it's in its early chapters, but it is already so good. So, Haim Yoon lives in a world where people register their DNA into cloning databases, a world where human suffering has basically been eradicated. The brilliant mind behind the cloning technology is none other than Haim's boyfriend of 5 years, Gunhoo Ji. Sorry, I probably am not saying that right. Their relationship isn't perfect, but they make it work, or so Haim thinks, until she finds a dead body at her boyfriend's house. And the dead body is hers. The next day, she wakes up with no recollection of the previous day until she finds a note from herself in her room. Haim, if you're reading this, you're a clone. It is, I mean, it is, oh, there's 2, oh, they're Fast Pass episodes. I try not to get Fast Pass episodes all the time because I need something to look forward to in my life. Like, I don't know how this girl is gonna get out of this situation. I'm worried for her. Like, I don't think there's a way out. I don't know. The way that the story is right now, I'm like, is the whole world aware of what's happening to her and just like, she's alone in this or what? It's crazy. That one is one that, like, if you like thriller, I'm such a romance person and I'm always looking for, you know, romance. But this one, this is a thriller that I'm just like, I need to see it to the end. Another one that I really love, oh my god, that is so beautiful, When Jasy Whistles. That one is just incredible. I mean, and as a Latina filmmaker myself, seeing a Latina webtoon creator using like a legend that she grew up with and like creating her own story out of it, that's something that is so inspiring to me, something that I like to do as like a Mexican filmmaker, you know, using Mexican legend. Cibeles, or Cibeles. In ancient times, people believed that the forests of Paraguay were filled with gods and monsters. Growing up outside of modern Asunción, Hela never thought much of the old stories. When her best friend disappears, apparently kidnapped by the legendary Jasy. However, she learns that the old world is not as dead as she had thought. This one, girl, first of all, okay, I don't think you're gonna be able to see that. They are hot. They're really attractive, both of these characters. Yeah, especially Krecic. He's like, okay, like, if you're, like, I get it, you're a demon, like, you're not the best, most reliable guy, but if I had no one else in the world to trust, he's not the worst. So basically, Krecic is a demon that I would trust. But it would take me a while. All I gotta say is that this art is like a jewel. It looks like actual jewels. I mean, I have no idea how Cibeles was able to draw this. I'm like, I mean, these people are talented. It feels like if you saw, like, at a jewelry store and there were diamonds in the case, and you know, like, there's the velvet and stuff, and the light is hitting the diamonds and they're sparkling. That's what this one is drawn like. It just looks like jewels to me. So beautiful, and again, so much interesting character work. I feel like we haven't been allowed to kind of entirely know the character. There's a lot more to learn about them because we're only in, this has been only the first season. So I'm really excited to see where it goes next, and I think it's so awesome that it is a made by a Latina creator, author and artist, and she is killing it. I love it. Oh my god! So one of the ones that I, again, underestimated, Suitor armor. Let me put it this way. I never believed that I would be able to fall in love with a sentient suit of armor that has one eye. Here's the thing. If you are able to make a character that's like completely stoic and you have one eye, it's not even an eye, it's just like a light in his eye, that if there is a sparkle in it, my heart explodes, and if there's no sparkle in it, I literally crumble to pieces. What? Like, how do people do that? That has to be magic. There has to be magic in someone's ability to create such a character. Lady-in-waiting Lucia believes getting through the royal wedding will be the toughest part of her new life. That is until she finds herself falling head over heels with Modius, an up-and-coming knight to the King's Guard. With her newfound interest, she is quickly awakened to the mysteries of the kingdom, when she learns Modius is in fact an enchanted suit of armor without a soul. Could there be more to him than just shining armor? That's him! That's the suit of armor that captures all of our hearts and souls. And he will capture yours too if you decide to read this, which you should, because I need people to talk to about this. Every single time that I come across one of these ones that's like very cutesy art style, like Cursed Princess Club, I'm always just expecting it's gonna be just a cutesy story, and I'm always proven so wrong. There's so much depth in these stories, gosh, and I feel like, I wonder if it's because of the art style that makes it hit better because of how you underestimate it, you know, and then all of a sudden you're learning these life lessons, and oh my gosh, Modius, he has just like, he's learning to talk, like he can't really talk, and so Purpah, his dialogue that she chose is all very specific, you know, like he learns how to say very specific things, and it is the most heartwarming, endearing, beautiful thing, because it's like he's learning emotion, and he says things that it's like they're so raw and things that maybe you wouldn't usually say, and he says them so simply. I love that. I love when these writers, when they make their dialogue and all these webtoons, like when they can get something across so simply with just like a very succinct, very clean, but incredibly like deep and penetrating line of dialogue, and then you have obviously the art to go with it that just makes you like lose your absolute mind. Suitor armor, definitely you have to read that one. If you were doubting it before, like you should read it. Oh my god, another one that I doubted, Down to Earth. I can't believe that I was sleeping on this one. I mean, Down to Earth, let me just read. So Down to Earth, it's like, okay, Pookie Senpai wrote this one. Cade lives his average life alone and undisturbed until a cute alien girl crashes into his backyard. By opening up his home, will this otherworldly girl inadvertently open up his heart? It's just what the summary says. This is what it looks like. Wait. Down to Earth. It's basically like your Hot Topic crush fanfiction. Like the guy who worked at your local Hot Topic when you were growing up in high school that you were like, oh my gosh, he's so cute, is now the focal point for a fanfic about being a cute, weird girl falling in love with the Hot Topic employee. Which, like, how can you go wrong with that? This is another one where, again, the comic style is so unassuming, and I am getting punched in the heart with character development and humanity. Just ways that humans are, and growth, and I mean, everybody learns so much from each other in these webtoons. I don't know, I admire so much people like Pookie Senpai who can make all these characters, and I just think that it's absolute magic what some of these creators are able to do. These ones are just a few of the more well-known ones that have made me really happy and that have honestly enriched my life and my mind. Maybe I'll make a video on some of the like up and coming like more canvas stories that I've really liked. Some that are a little bit more niche that I love it so much. And I think that if you are looking for something good to try, if you aren't sure about some of these more popular webtoons that are on there, and maybe you had doubts about them like I've had, lights came out, but they're worth it. They are so worth it. You should go read them right now. And yeah, thank you for listening to me just rant and go crazy about how much I love these webtoons and how much they mean to me, and I hope that you will give some of them a chance. I hope that you'll start reading one and have fun, and let me know if you want me to make a video on anything else. Thanks.